Well, they did it, Joe. Joe Biden officially announced just moments ago, like 4.5 minutes ago, that he is taking himself out of the running for re-election this November. He is dropping out of the presidential race. He is personally defying the will of the voters of the Democratic Party who put him on the ticket during this primary season. The Democrats, the Barack Obama, Kamala Harris silent coup is complete. And we're going to get into all those details, give you instantaneous analysis and reaction, then reaction to other people's reactions and well, your reactions too, because we're in this together. It's a Sunday, but that won't stop us. My name's Larry O'Connor. You can call me Larry. Thank you for watching here on this Breaking Sunday show. Do you like my weekend attire, by the way? I mean, you're jealous. I know you are. Can I tell you, I'm a suburban dad. Thanks for joining us on this breaking historic news story. It is 2:02 Eastern time. It's the 21st day of July. And Joe Biden, for the first time in history, a sitting president, already having secured the nomination of his party for re-election, has decided now, no, he will not accept that nomination. He will not seek re-election. He's decided that. Or has he? Well, there's going to be a lot of speculation about how this decision was made and who ultimately made the decision for him, because up until just, well, a couple of hours ago, all of his minions were out on national television saying, no, the president has secured the backing of his party at the state level. He's going forward. In fact, they were announcing this morning on the Sunday shows that he had campaign events already scheduled next week. And yet here it is, the letter that he just posted on his official account on X. Let's read it together, shall we? My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Well, look how the lies begin. Like right in the first sentence, we got the lies, but that's all right. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation and lowering prescription drug costs for seniors and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. Good Lord, I want to take a shower after reading this pile of crap. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. Let's circle back to that critically important sentence in just a moment. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. Joe Biden. Wonder who actually signed that, or who wrote it for that matter. There it is. It's official. Joe Biden has removed himself from the running, which now, of course, throws the entire process for selecting the Democrats' nominee for president into turmoil. The jockeying that you are going to see in front of and behind the scenes over the next 29 days before the first day of their convention is going to be historic and extraordinary. That's why we decided to go live and break into your day today with this news, because we've never seen anything like this. Also, this confirms that they've been lying to us, that the White House has been lying to us, that people in the highest reaches of the Democrat Party and the Biden campaign have been lying to us for days. In fact, it was Mark Halperin. I think 6 days ago, that reported that this exact thing would happen, that it would be this day, this Sunday, the 21st of July, when Joe Biden decides to drop out. It was reported on Thursday by Mark Halperin that this is exactly how it would play out. And yet lies, lies, denial, denial, and more lies. It makes you wonder why you should trust anybody from this party, and certainly anybody from this administration, to not continue the lies about the president's health, the lies about the president's political plans and his future and his ambitions. If they think Kamala Harris is the solution, Kamala Harris needs to have a come to Jesus moment with the media and with the American people about what she knew about the president's condition, when she knew it, and why she lied about it this entire time. Also, the next question that needs to be asked is, if Joe Biden is incapable physically, mentally, to actually run for president and run for re-election, how is he mentally, physically capable of being president from this point forward? But we'll see if those questions get asked, because clearly some sort of deal and negotiation has been struck here. This is a man who has been defiant every single day since that disastrous press debate, well over, 3 weeks ago now. He has been defiant every single day, saying, hell no, I won't go. I'm the nominee. Screw all of you. And now what changed? What's different? Well, let's face it. Joe Biden has continued to repeat the same two things over and over again. Number one, I will only step down if they can convince me, or if I am convinced that I can't win. And number two, if a doctor told me that I had some sort of medical diagnosis that would prevent me from running or serving for the next term. I doubt that this case of COVID is that medical condition that we're talking about, and any medical condition that he has right now that prevents him from serving a second term is not new. It's something that we've all seen and we've all known, and I'm sure the patient in chief has known about it as well. So maybe the difference here is the Michigan poll that came out this morning, reported by the Detroit Free Press, that in just 1 week, Joe Biden has gone from 2 down to Donald Trump to 7 down. That's in a head-to-head and in a 5-way race. Down 7 points in Michigan. It is over. And maybe that's what really motivated this decision. Or maybe it was Barack Obama. Let's face it. This video from that fateful fundraiser in Los Angeles continues to be the beginning of the end. And in my opinion, if you watch this show every single day at noon, where we stream it at Town Hall and across all of Town Hall's social media sites, you would know that I told you Barack Obama's body language in this moment at this fundraiser that they called a cheap fake. Barack Obama's body language told the world and told the Democratic Party and told the big funders and donors at this event that it's time for Joe Biden to go. Watch it again with me. You don't need the audio. I'll give you a narration. You'll see that Joe Biden freezes. Right there, he's frozen. Can't move. Obama sees it. And how does he break him from it? He holds his hand. He reaches out and grabs his wrist and then walks him off the stage and pats him on the back as if to say to the world, that's it, Joe. You've done your service. You've done your job. It's time to get off the stage, literally and figuratively. That was not necessary. Barack Obama could have gotten Joe Biden off the stage in a different way and in a different manner. And don't start with all the, oh, they're just such good friends. They've got brotherly love, because we've seen so many stories over the last several days, including one in Politico today, about how Joe Biden is defying the Obama people because he's still bitter over Barack Obama pushing him aside for Hillary Clinton in 2016. How many times over the last couple of interviews that Joe Biden has put forth to try to, stamp down the calls for him to leave, whether it was George Stephanopoulos or Lester Holt or whoever, where he would call the people who are calling for him to leave, he would call them the elites. Who do you think he means when he says the elites? Is there anyone more elite than Obama and his whole cadre around him? Don't tell me that this is Barack Obama and his familial brotherly love for his best friend Joe Biden. That's not what that was. No, sorry, guys. That's not at all what that was. That was Barack Obama beginning this boulder rolling down the hill. Oh, sure. We all saw it. We right of center talk radio hosts and online streamers, conservatives, we saw it for what it was. And what did the White House say? What did the New York Times and Washington Post repeat all that? Those are cheap fakes. That video is not showing you what you clearly see with your own eyes. But you know what? My friend Chris DeGaulle grabbed this video when it happened back in, 2021, I think, maybe 22. This video actually tells you even more what the dynamic is in the Biden White House. Look at this was when Barack Obama returned for some event in the East Room. And look at him and Kamala Harris as Joe Biden, the president of the United States, is trying to get his attention, try to get anyone to talk to him, try to get anybody to look at him. And look at those two up front. The most emasculating, humiliating body language and delivery from Barack Obama right there. Who's running this White House? Who's running this party? Who motivated this decision? You see right there with your own eyes exactly who. That's what's at play right now, and that's what's now transpiring before your eyes. Let's be clear. The party who's won, well, they have two messages going into November. One is that women will be forced into, that the abortion will be outlawed across the land. Trump will sign a national ban, and it'll be Handmaid's Tale for every woman in America. They got that lie. And then they've got the other lie that Donald Trump is that our democracy will be over. And they're that party, the party that has the message that democracy will be ruined by Donald Trump and the Republicans, just upended their own democratic process for their own nominee. There will now be a silent coup engineered by a small handful of the oligarchs who make decisions in the Democrat Party, many of whom are just giant billionaire fundraisers who really pull the strings and call the shots. The most important story coming out of this last week was Jeffrey Katzenberg, who's in charge of the national campaign funding operation for Joe Biden, leaking out that the money has dried up. All of the deep pockets are no longer reaching in and pulling anything out for Joe Biden and his campaign right now. That's who calls the shots. That's who pulls the strings for this party. And now those people will be sitting at the table in a vape-filled room to decide who they will select to be the Democrats' nominee. And not one Democrat in the suburbs, in the rural, in the urban areas will ever have a chance to vote on it. The very small select few delegates will pretend like they have a vote in Chicago 29 days from now, but really it will be these small handful of people who will decide. And the calculation is going right now. Is it Kamala Harris or will it be somebody else? All right, let's see what else we've got here. Like I said, we're reacting to the reactions as we see it. So, our producer, Kevin, has decided to remind everybody that not incoincidentally, this is National Ice Cream Day. Which actually, it sort of makes it that much sadder, doesn't it? Kevin, why would you do that? Why are you rubbing salt into Joe Biden's wound there?
Well, I mean, this is probably one of his favorite days every year, and now it's going to go down as one of his least favorite days every year.
You are an evil, evil person, and I love you for it. That Kevin also ripped out of his Sunday to be able to do this. All right, Biden to make a major. 2 days ago, Biden to make major announcement in coming days, according to The Hill. Andrew Bates. Andrew Bates is, what is his title? Deputy Communications Director for the White House.
He's a mid-level communications staffer.
Remember how isn't he the guy who tweeted out what a genius Joe Biden is on foreign policy during the press conference he gave last week to once again prove to everybody that he's mentally capable? NBC News was reporting that members of President Biden's family have discussed what an exit from his campaign might look like. According to two people familiar with the discussions, that was 2 days ago. Andrew Bates says, wrong. Keep the Andrew Bates. Biden Biden says Biden officials, this is Axios, are telling Democratic critics that President Biden is eager to prove them wrong and plans to hit the campaign trail once he recovers from COVID. That was yesterday. Andrew Bates continues to say, keep the faith. I worry about Andrew Bates. I worry about the other guy, the little Gen Zer who loves Biden so much. Harry Sisson. Can we do a welfare check on Harry Sisson, please? Scott Jennings at CNN, who's become a real hero of ours recently. Let's take a look at I believe this was just yesterday when he was on CNN.
Do I agree with JD Vance? JD Vance raised a question today.
Can he serve right now?
Why are people not asking this question?
Yeah.
Look, when I was on during the Trump years on this network talking about Donald Trump, asking about the 25th Amendment.
We talked about it one day.
And why is it only that JD Vance is asking these questions now?
One day Donald Trump couldn't hold a glass of water, and we had like every medical person coming out of the woodwork. Should we have the 25th Amendment? Joe Biden could barely walk up the stairs.
And I would argue that the Republican Party is...
And on the other hand, arguing something very simple. Kamala Harris is Joe Biden. Everything you hate about Joe Biden, inflation, immigration, our standing in the world, whatever, she's been right there. And she's also been the chief person covering up just how bad off he really is. It'll be the
RNC.
That's right. That's 100% right. Jennings has been so good recently, and that's just another example of it. And the messaging from him and from the Republicans and from the Trump campaign needs to continue to emphasize that. You're unhappy with Joe Biden, you're not going to be happy with Kamala Harris. In fact, let's face it, the one highest profile job that Kamala Harris had during the last 3.5 years, the one thing that the Biden administration and Joe Biden specifically personally spent so much time ballyhooing and announcing at the top of mountaintops was that Kamala Harris was what? You ask anybody, what's her job? What's her main function? What's her main responsibility? What's the main task she was given? She's the what czar? She's the what czar? She's the border czar. The border czar. The single greatest symbol of Joe Biden's weakness and ineptitude and un-American policies over the last 3.5 years. The border is his single greatest weakness, and Kamala Harris is tied to it with an umbilical cord. It's her baby. So let's just be clear here on where we're going with this campaign as we move forward. Yesterday at the rally, Joe, oh no, this isn't real. Is it, Kevin? Oh God. Oh, the First Lady. Oh God. The First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, retweeted Joe Biden's announcement that he's pulling out with 2 heart emojis. That's just pathetic and sad and gross. If you're just joining us, we're reflecting on the announcement just 30 minutes ago that Joe Biden will in fact remove himself from the decision-making, the process of becoming presidential nominee. Earlier today, by the way, Aaron Sorkin, the writer of A Few Good Men, creator of The West Wing, writer of multiple Hollywood fantasy movies about Democrats and how glorious they are. He floated the idea in a New York Times op-ed that Democrats nominate Mitt Romney. We'll have more to say about that on tomorrow's regular programming. But the fact that these were the messages coming out, that Democrats were panicking left and right, tells you quite a bit about the state of mind and state of play right now in the Democrat Party. Caitlin Collins now reporting. Let's take a look at her tweet. In a phone call with CNN minutes after Biden announced his exit from the 24 race, former President Trump responded, quote, "He is the worst president in the history of our country. He goes down as the single worst president by far in the history of our country," unquote. While it's unclear who the Democrat nominee will be, Trump said he thinks VP Harris will be easier to defeat than Biden would have been. That posted just about 15 minutes ago. Caitlin Collins getting that phone call with Donald Trump. Good for Caitlin to get that. I'm curious as to what you think, and we'll look at the comments. I've seen a lot of people commenting from YouTube and from X that we're screwed, that Republicans are screwed now, you think. If that's the case, I'd be interested in whether you think that's the situation. I mean, running against Joe Biden would have been great, but understand something. In a way, Donald Trump is now running against something even easier than running against Joe Biden. Because when he was running against Joe Biden, the Democrats were going to be forced to circle the wagons and defend him, right? And so you're running against every Democrat up and down the ticket pretending like Joe Biden is great. Now you get to run against those very same Democrats, call them the hypocrites that they are by claiming that Donald Trump is the one who's going to end democracy. Like, democracy is the most important thing that we've got. And they're now upending their own democratic process and disenfranchising tens of millions of voters who came into this rigged primary process where no one could have a voice in any way whatsoever. Also, what happens to all the money that was raised and donated to the Biden-Harris campaign if it's not Kamala Harris running? That I assure you that the Democrats are going to figure out some sort of finagling maneuver to keep all of that money. That will be a scandal. Any single person who donated to Biden-Harris should be able to have their donation returned to them. But guess what, guys? A ton of that money has already been spent. And they're going to say, screw you, people. We can make up the rules as we go along, but still wrap ourselves in the virtuous blanket of pure democracy when it just isn't there. It's kind of funny to call this a bombshell story, by the way, because we've been telling you for months that this is what's going to happen. The only thing that is still yet to occur, which I've been predicting, is they're going to figure out that their only way forward is to give the presidency to Kamala Harris. The fact, and I'm guarantee you that the biggest negotiation, everyone's saying, oh, Hunter gets a pardon and he gets, $100 million and everybody in the family gets their payoff. And that may be part of it. But the biggest part of this entire negotiation has been Democrats trying to convince him to step down from the presidency, which he refused to do. And in this letter, he says he's staying on as president. And that is the perfect storm for Donald Trump and Republicans. Hear me out. If Kamala Harris were to become president right now, she would get the honeymoon of honeymoons from the media. She would be celebrated as the historic figure, the first Black woman president. This is incredible. She would be treated like a freaking queen by the media, and they will ignore all of her disastrous moments leading up until now, because now she's president of the United States, and they'll put her on an international tour, and she'll meet with Prince Charles, and she'll meet with all of these world leaders. And now Donald Trump is not just running against this hapless punchline with a horrific cackling laugh that nobody respects and everybody mocks. No, now he's running against the first Black woman president. Now, instead, Joe Biden is still going to do crap. Joe Biden is still going to appear. He's still going to give speeches. He's still going to try to affect policy. Otherwise, why else would he still be president for the next 6 months? And every single thing he does, Democrats are going to have to defend and back up, right? They're going to have to say, oh, yeah, he's fine. Absolutely. He just knew he couldn't run for another term. So he's still going to be an ineffective disaster of a president. Trump and the Republicans still get to run against him in office and run against all the Democrats who are enabling him. Or even better, it's going to force Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or whoever the hell they trot out there to have to, if they don't defend Joe Biden and whatever else he does for the next 6 months or 4 months leading up to the election, they're going to have to criticize Biden and say, no, Biden's wrong. He shouldn't do this, which actually then divides the Democrat Party. So the fact that they have acquiesced and allowed Biden to stay in office and then let this whole thing be a ugly free-for-all, like Survivor Island Hunger Games kind of decision over the next 29 days is beautiful. It divides the party, and it forces them to have to continue to defend this hapless husk of a corpse sitting in the Oval Office. All right, we've got more reactions here. Oh, Gavin Newsom has chimed in, and we all want to know what Gavin had to say. President Biden has been an extraordinary history-making president. Yeah, you go with that. I love that an entire night or maybe half of the Democrat convention is going to have to be devoted to making Joe Biden seem like the greatest president on earth. In fact, they're going to have to go even more overboard, lionizing and deifying Joe Biden, as the American people have to spend $5 for a dozen eggs and $5 for a gallon of gas. And they're going to tune into the Democrat convention, and they're going to have to pretend like Joe Biden has been the greatest president of our lifetimes. And every single standard, regular, everyday American is going to watch this and say, why are they lying to me? Why are they trying to make me eat this meal that I know is crap? All right. Biden has been an extraordinary history-making president, a leader who has fought hard for working people and delivered astonishing results. Oh, yeah, things are astonishing now. He will go down in history as one of the most impactful and selfless presidents. Thank you, Joe Biden. Indeed. Thank you, Joe Biden. Oh, Jasmine Crockett, one of our favorite congresswomen from Texas. I hope the geniuses that push the most consequential president of our lifetime out have a plan. Who in the hell couldn't sell the MF accomplishments? She means motherfucking, just in case you're not sure. MF accomplishments and went over a 34-time convicted felon who isn't even allowed to operate businesses in the state of New York and therefore should automatically be disallowed from, say, running the country. And his entire team is Project 2025. Could I just say this is what we're going to see? This is the beauty of this, is that there's still going to be what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I think, didn't she just do a live stream for an hour, Kevin, on Instagram, saying how it's so important that Joe Biden stay there, that nobody trusts Kamala Harris? Isn't that what she said? I feel like that's what. Yeah, essentially. Right. So listen, because here's the thing: if Joe Biden has done one thing over the last 3 weeks to try to secure his position on the ticket, he has pandered. He has leaned so far over to the left and pandered to these people, even so far as to put out a proposal to stack the Supreme Court this last week. And so they own him. And now they want to call in their chits. And now everything that they've gotten from Joe Biden and all the promises that he made to them to support him on the ticket, it goes into the shredder. And Jasmine Crockett and AOC, they got to start all over again, trying to secure their hateful Marxist agenda with whoever the next person is. That's what you're seeing here. Joe wasn't the problem. Democrats were. Go, baby. Go, baby. Come on, Jasmine. Tell it like it is. I know one thing. I will only work for Kamala Harris if it's anyone other than her. Enjoy campaign season. I hope all of my disenchanted colleagues are able to find some walking shoes and get to work, because I will not. Full stop. Oh, can we check in on Gavin Newsom's reaction to that? Oh, he's just standing there being a maniacal, evil white dude ready to take the place of what should be the rightful heir, Kamala Harris. Oh, that's just gorgeous. God, I feel dirty and cleansed at the same time looking at that. All right, what else have we got here? Oh, Alex Thompson, Biden co-chair. Oh, let's see what he has to say. This was just this morning on Face the Nation. This is the man who is the co-chair of the Biden campaign.
Congressman, we heard, as you know, before you, from two allies of Joe Biden who have now.
Oh, wait, we're jumping in here. We're interrupting our own breaking news with more breaking news. Joe Biden has endorsed Kamala Harris. What the hell? It took him 35 minutes? Are you serious? My fellow Americans, I've decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president. Wait, what have you been doing? For the remainder of my term, my first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Well, I mean, that says a lot. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Oh, and look at that picture they put out. Oh, look at you. You can hear her laughing. You can hear her laughing in that still shot. Well, there it is, everybody. Breaking news within the breaking news. Why didn't he do that in his letter? I wonder if Joe even knows he just endorsed Kamala Harris, because you know he doesn't run his Twitter account. I want to know if he has. Somebody should let Joe Biden know that he just endorsed Kamala Harris. Well, there it is. There it is. So now what? Now what do you do? Can I go? Let's go back to this is what I mean by saying you can't let them ever forget and never forgive all of the lies. All of the lies. the lies about his mental ability, the lies about his physical and neurological condition, the lies about who's really running things in this White House, the lies about whether he's going to step down or not, the lies about lie upon lie upon lie upon lie. If they lie about those things, they lie about everything. And again, this is the chairman of the Biden campaign 5 hours ago on CBS News.
Congressman, we heard, as you know, before you, from two allies of Joe Biden who have now changed their position. And we now look at the tally of roughly 40 lawmakers who have called for Joe Biden to step aside. Clearly, leadership is setting up a permission structure for lawmakers to come out and say these things. Has Joe Biden lost control of the Democratic Party?
No, he's not. And he's heard those concerns. And I want to be crystal clear. He's made a decision. And that decision is to accept the nomination and run for re-election, win re-election. And I think that there are those out there that need to hear it again, that he made a decision. He's going to be the candidate. He's going to be the next president. And now it's time to focus on the threat that Donald Trump poses and what the extreme agenda is on the other side.
All right, so we have two choices here, guys. The first choice is that Cedric, I forget his name now, Cedric Richmond, the co-chair of the Biden for President campaign, just hours before Joe Biden decided to withdraw his name from nomination, that Cedric Richmond, the co-chair, had no idea that that was happening, that Joe Biden runs such an ineffective, dysfunctional, and insular kind of operation that he wouldn't even tell his campaign co-chair that this was a possibility, that this decision was on the table, right? That you must think that this man was kept completely in the dark by Joe Biden, which tells you something about the management style and infrastructure over there at the White House, as well as the Biden campaign. Or that's one choice. Or the other choice is they lie all the time. They lie, he knew full well, and there was no way they were going to say anything. And so they just lie to you, lie to you, lie to you, lie to you, lie to you. Either way, I think the choice is pretty clear here. I want to go back to that Michigan poll today. The Michigan poll reported by the Free Press showed a palpable swing in Donald Trump's direction, not just in the head-to-head match. And we say this all the time on this show. Everyone says, oh, there's a head-to-head match, and then there's the five-way. Well, guys, it's not going to be a head-to-head matchup. The ballot has Robert F. Kennedy Jr., it has Jill Stein, it has Cornel West on it. Unless one of them drops out between now and Election Day, which I don't see happening, it's going to be a five-way race. So pay no attention to the head-to-head. Always look at the five-way. And in this case, actually, ironically, in Michigan, Donald Trump is now leading Joe Biden by 7 points in both the head-to-head and the five-way. Between Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, honestly, I think Michigan is the toughest state for Trump to win. And Joe Biden, or the Democrats now, I guess I should say, they have to win all 3 of those. Now, that's assuming that Trump is going to win Nevada and Arizona and North Carolina and Georgia. And, well, do you think that changing Joe Biden out in those 4 states is going to make a difference? No, especially if it's Kamala Harris. Especially. So what does this mean for all of us? If you're a Republican, if you're a Trump supporter, if you're independent and you're not sure what to do, this is going to be an extraordinary 29 days leading up to their convention. And then somehow the Democrats are going to have to put together a national presidential apparatus from scratch, unless it's Kamala Harris as the nominee, starting in late August, mid to late August, and sprint with that brand new created apparatus with brand new personnel, brand new between then and Election Day. That's a tall order, to say the least. If it is Kamala Harris, and she will be making the case over the next 29 days to the decision makers, the hierarchy, to the Obama people, to the funders, that she's the only stable option here because there's less heavy lifting. You don't have to raise all that money over again. There's less bloody details and messiness with all the money that's already come in for the Biden-Harris campaign. And, oh, by the way, she's a historic figure, first Black woman ever to run for president or to be president, right? So, of course, you should back her up. That's the case she's going to make. Never underestimate the power of ego and narcissism from those Democrats who now see an opening, who now see a lane, who now see a window to grasp the power that they've always wanted. Of course, we're talking about Gavin Newsom. We're also talking about Governor Pritzker in Illinois. We're also talking, hear me out, about Andrew Cuomo. That's right, Andrew Cuomo. I'm telling you, if you look at what Andrew Cuomo's been doing for the last several months, he actually is salivating at the idea of coming in here as a contrary figure. And hardcore Democrats, they still like that guy. You're also talking about Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, potentially also Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania. They're all going to see a lane here, either for top of the ticket or number 2 on the ticket, and they're all going to try to take that lane. The jockey, and don't forget Pete Buttigieg. Don't forget Elizabeth Warren. Guys, you have to understand something. All bets are off right now. Elizabeth Warren, hold on a second. That's my boss at the radio station calling me just to see if we want to go live, which we will probably. So I'm going to wrap this up. All bets are off here, my friends. Anything can happen and anything will happen between now and the nomination process. The knives are out and the Olympics will distract all of us. But if you're a Democrat right now, maybe you're a little relieved, but you have no idea the hellfire that your party is about to go through in their attempt to find and coalesce their nominee for president. It's going to be fun. It's historic. It's unprecedented. And for the first time in our history, when monumental events like this happen, we no longer have to worry about the gatekeepers and the filter makers in mainstream corporate-owned media to be able to deliver the news and analysis directly to us. That's why we do what we do at Town Hall Media. I hope you bookmark and stay on all of our sites all the time. Townhall.com, hotair.com, pjmedia.com, twitchy.com, redstate.com, and bearingarms.com. And please subscribe and like this channel wherever you're watching this, whether this is YouTube or Rumble or X or Facebook. Wherever you're watching us right now, please like and subscribe so that you can share in the news and information every single day with us. Thanks for watching on this breaking, extraordinary day. Just to sum things up, Joe Biden, 45 minutes ago, announced he will be dropping out of the presidential race for re-election. And just 15 minutes ago, he has officially endorsed Kamala Harris. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Larry O'Connor. We'll see you tomorrow at noon, as we always do, live streaming at noon right here where you're watching us. I'm Larry O'Connor. You can call me Larry.